Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Talk Sport here on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. As we saw lots of actions over the weekend, and we are definitely going to cover almost every angle of sport on today's edition of Talk Sport. We'll talk NBA basketball, grassroots basketball, cricket, yellow and green, maintaining and retaining their trophy as West Africans champions in the world of cricket. We're going to have that conversation. The yellow and green are a Nigerian cricket team. We're going to have that conversation. We'll talk EPL as, Arsenal still maintain its top as the leaders of the EPL for 2025-2026 season, and Manchester City tailing behind Chelsea back up to top four. We'll be having that conversation. Manchester United will be having actions later tonight, and then we'll have a bit of a conversation around that and what to expect against Manchester United and playing Bournemouth. Yes, we'll be having that conversation, and also we'll be looking at Nigerian Professional Football League as Rivers United have edged winning Platoon in just over this past week, and then this has placed them in the second position with 30 points on the Nigerian Premier League log, and that's why United leading the pack with 31 points, which is just a very, very close margin. We'll be having all of this conversation. We'll be bringing you highlights of the major games that were played in the NBA early hours of today, and also we'll be bringing you major highlights as well from the EPL and also La Liga, as Real Madrid, defeated Alvarez yesterday 2-1 in the La Liga feature. So we'll be having all of this conversation, but they say home is where the heart is, and we will be starting from the home front, where we'll be talking cricket quickly as the Yellow Greens retain West African trophy. Congratulations to the Yellow and Greens, and then the Nigerians successfully defended their West African trophy title in an emphatic fashion, emerging victorious in the final against Rwanda by 40 runs at the NCF pitch in Abuja. This happened yesterday. You can see them there celebrating. In doing so, they replicated their triumph from the inaugural events in Lagos in 2023, when they also beat Rwanda to lift the crown. Looking at this, the Nigerian side, led by the former Kenyan international Steve Tikolo, stamped their authority on producing winning 9 out of their 10 matches, and their only defeat came last week when Rwanda inflicted a 23-run loss on them in a group phase. In the finals, Nigeria won the toss and elected to bat, a decision that paid dividends as their batters collectively contributed to the posting a challenging total. Sylvester Okpe led from the front with 35 runs not out of 22 balls, while skipper Suleimanu also delivered the bricks, 34 from 26, and then that was how the trajectory continued as Nigeria continued to dominate over and over again till they became victorious yesterday afternoon here in the capital. So it's just very interesting to see that Nigerian cricket games is evolving, and it's very, very interesting to see that a whole lot of recognition are given to these individuals, and then we are looking to represent on the global stage and continue winning trophies. So Nigeria has been the champion back-to-back. They won in 2023, and then consecutively they are winning again and defending their title in the home front, which is very, very interesting to see. That is just welcoming. This is what we want to see in the Nigerian sporting ecosystem. So moving on now, Nigeria dominates athletics at African Youth Games. Well, we're going on a very quick break, and when we return back, I will bring you all of the highlights, major conversations around the fact that Nigeria, we are very victorious by winning bunch and lots of gold medals. So we'll have that conversation immediately after this break. Yes, many thanks for joining. If you're just joining, this is Talk Sport, and I am Samuel Odi. Yes, I'm just smiling. I'm very happy because of the fact that Team Nigeria is excelling. We just finished having a conversation around the world of cricket where Nigeria defended its title, winning it back-to-back, one in 2023 and still won it again in 2025 by defeating the same team they defeated in 2023. That's talking about Team Rwanda, which actually came very powerful, and then they did defeated Nigeria in the group stages, but who laughs last laughs best, they always say, as Nigeria defeated them in the finals yesterday. Congratulations to the team, and also we're looking forward to more interesting outings and to the team, to Nigerian sporting ecosystem hosting international competitions like this. So moving on, Nigeria is winning at home and also making us proud away from home. Nigeria dominates athletics at the African Youth Games. Team Nigeria delivered a commanding display at athletics as the athletics concluded at the 4th African Youth Games in Angola on Saturday, finishing with an impressive haul of 11 medals to underline the depth of the country's youth talents. The Nigerian contingent won 6 gold and 5 silver medals across track and field events, asserting their dominance over the competition and capping a highly successful athletic campaign for the team. Nigeria made an early statement in the sprint, particularly in the women's 100 meters, where Rosemary Chigozie surged to gold with a winning time of 11.77 seconds. She finished ahead of South Africans Oluchi Ndubeze, who clocked 12.12 seconds for silver, while Moroccan's Maria Sadia took bronze in 12.27 seconds. Now, there is this name that I'm sure you are that's not an error. The South African's name is actually Oluchi Ndubeze. We'll have that conversation. It's for another day. So you'll just do the count. So we'll have that conversation another day. So moving on, success continued in the field events where Timothy won gold in the triple jump to extend Nigeria's gold run. Nigeria's overall showing on the track reinforced its reputation as one of Africa's leading producers of young athletic talent, with 11 gold medals haul, standing as one of the standout achievements of the game. So it has just been so interesting to see how Nigeria is evolving, and all of this is coming because of the fact that the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Alhaji Shehu Diko, and also the DG of the Commission also are paying serious attention to grassroots sports development. Grassroots is where, the milk and honey is. I can just put it that way, because if you take care of the grassroots, then everything is going to be sorted out. All of this contingent that went to represent Nigeria in Angola, and the ones that have been representing Nigeria here, because you know that Nigeria has hosted over 13 international games locally here in Nigeria, international games here in Nigeria. They hosted some in Lagos, in Ogun State, and some also were hosted here in Abuja. So you've seen that the trajectory of all of this now are all home-based athletes, and then they've been winning gold medals for Nigeria, making amazing returns and having an interesting outing. So this shows how ready and how hungry that these young athletes that are back home here are. And again, all of this now is kudos to the fact that the chairman of the National Sports Commission saw that, okay, there is a loophole here and we need to pay more attention to the grassroots, and paying attention to the grassroots is putting Nigeria in the world map to be able to represent and also host world-class events. Now, for us to see more results, now infrastructural development needs to happen in the world of sports. A whole lot of stadiums, sporting arenas, and track and field needs to be, renovated, and new ones need to be built up to international standards, so we can also not drag when it comes to bidding for Commonwealth Games and other prestigious international competitions, because we have the infrastructural development that we need to be able to host all of those events. So I think the government and the National Sports Commission and everybody that needs to contribute in one way or the other needs to contribute. And I would say again, kudos to the chairman, National Sports Commission, and the DG, Bukola Olokpade, for all of the excellent works they've been doing since emerging office. So let's move on as we talk football quickly, as Rangers holds Insurance in Benin City to 1-1 draw. Bendel Insurance were held to a 1-1 draw by Rangers International at the Samuel Ogumidia Stadium, Benin City. This happened over the weekend on Saturday. The Benin Arsenal, as they are always called, extended their unbeaten run to 5 games as both teams fought hard in the first half, failing to hit the target despite creating a couple of chances. Promise Anyanwu gave Insurance the lead 9 minutes from time. Rangers, however, fought back deep into the stoppage time after Chidoze's free kick was diverted into the net for an on goal. A goal is a goal, regardless. Insurance moved to 14th position on the table with 20 points from 17 games. Rangers remain in their 4th position with 26 points from the same number of matches being played. The remaining match day 17 games will be played starting from today, and then I'm going to bring you updates with those games that will be played today. And then on the other hand, Rangers International and Bendel Insurance, that's talking about the Nigerian Arsenal team, settling for a 1-1 draw. So now let's see. Rivers United were away from home, and then they clinched the entire 3 points and 2 goals that they needed. Finally, Finidi George, that's talking about the head coach of Rivers United, Lords, that he applauds Rivers away from home in title charge. Rivers United head coach Finidi George has praised his team's growing resilience on the road after their dramatic 2-1 comeback victory over Plateau United in Jos. The former champions underlined the club's Nigerian Premier League title ambition with their second away win of the season, having also remained unbeaten in other away matches, despite failing behind early in Jos through an early opener by the hosts. Rivers United pegged Plateau United back with an equalizer from Bolu in the second half before a late Wisdom Nodo on goal secured the win for Port Harcourt side, taking them joint top of the league table with an outstanding game. Speaking after the match, Finidi reflected on how his team's ability to grind out results away from home has become a defining feature of the campaign. Crucially, it meant Rivers United added to an already impressive away record by having won or recorded 11 points on the road season. In 7 games this season, they have won 2 and have drawn 5, and which is what is keeping them on the verge of where they are now. Now, quickly, let's look at the current standings from the match day 16 that we saw, because we'll be seeing match day 17 starting from today at 4 p.m., which will be starting with Ikorodu City as they'll be taking on Katsina United. Before we get into that conversation, looking at the standings now, Nasarawa United are standing comfortably with just 1 point ahead of Rivers United. That's Nasarawa United has it's been a very long time that they, maintained the number 1 position, but now this season is looking different for them. With 17 games played, they have 9 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses, and then that automatically gave them 31 points. And then Rivers United, having 2 outstanding matches, they have played 15 games, they've won 8, they've drawn 6, and then they've lost 1, and that is giving them 30 points. So do the maths. They have 2 more games, and if they win their next 2 more games, automatically they are advancing further, and then we would see how the trajectory will continue, if they will drop points, or they'll just carry it all the way and then win the trophy. But we'll see how all of that pans out, because the Nigerian Professional Football League is very, very competitive, and nobody is going to hand anything over. So still talking about the standings, we saw Ikorodu City are sitting in the number 3 position with 28 points, Abia Warriors with 27 points in the 4th position. That's the top 4. And then Niger Tornadoes, our neighbors here, with just 26 points from 17 matches also being played. We've seen Ikorodu City with 16 matches being played having 28 points. And then there might be changes from after the matches that we'll be seeing today. Then in the 6th position, Enugu Rangers with 26 points. Shooting Stars with 26 points after 17 games. Eyimba of Aba, former champions as well, with 23 points from 17 games. Warri Wolves with 23 points from 17 games. And Bayelsa United with 23 points with 17 games played. And then leading from below is the current champions, Remo Stars, who are sitting in the 11th position. I don't really understand what's wrong with Remo Stars this season, but I just hope that the injury worries that they have and also administrative concerns that they have would, be sorted out early enough so as they would get back to winning ways and see if they might contend for the EPL, Nigerian Professional Football League, not EPL this time around. But we'll see how all of that pans out as the league is entering into its second phase, and we'll see a whole lot of competition happening. So let's quickly talk about today's event, talking about the March Day 17 event that will be kicking off at 4 p.m. Nigerian time as Ikorodu City will be taking on Katsina United. We'll be looking at head-to-head lineups and, a possible match prediction. In the March Day 17 of the Nigerian Premier Football League, Ikorodu City will take on Katsina United. Ikorodu City enter the clash with Katsina United in a strong form and a clear understanding of their strengths in the 2025-2026 season. The team relies on a high-intensity football, aggressive pressing, and rapid transition into attack. Ikorodu City look especially confident at home, where they immediately impose a high tempo and deny opponents any comfort in the building from the back. However, their aggressive style often leaves gaps in defense, which opponents exploit through swift vertical attacks. Still, thanks to their attacking drive and relentless pressure in the final third, Ikorodu City consistently create chances and rarely leave the pitch without scoring. In their home feature against Katsina United, the hosts are likely to take the initiative, pushing the ball down the flank and aiming to deliver it into the box as quickly as possible. It's crucial for Ikorodu City to score early, as they can look to shank off the ball when forced into a potential defending situation. Now let's look at Katsina United. Have taken a more pragmatic approach this season. The team isn't known for prolific scoring, but they make up for it with organizing defense and patient play away from home. Away from home now, Katsina United prefer to sit deep, pack the midfield, and rely on counter-attacks and set pieces. Their main weakness is playing under pressure. When they press aggressively, they tend to lose possession near their own box, leading to a dangerous moment for the opposition. Against Ikorodu City, the visitors will most likely adopt a cautious, low-risk game plan. Katsina United will try to slow the tempo, drag the game out, and capitalize on mistakes, especially through a quick breakdown from the wings. That is how Katsina United play most of the times when they are away from home. And then Ikorodu City, very, very aggressive side, and then we'll see what this matchup will look like as it kicks off by 4 p.m. Nigerian time. So another action we'll be seeing today is Rivers United versus Wiki Tourists. Okay, let's take a very quick look at that, as Rivers United currently sitting second in the Premier League standings, are firmly involved in the title race. They have collected 30 points from 15 games, 15 matches, and tried Nasara Oli on the tiebreaker. However, Rivers United have a game in hand, meaning they top the table on points lost in their previous matches, and then they edged past Platoon with a narrow 2-1 victory. In their current unbeaten run stands at 3 matches. Wiki Tourists find themselves in the lower half of the table, and they are set to for relegation battle. The team currently sits 12th with 21 points after 16 matches, but their gap over Platoon, who are already in the relegation zone, is just 3 points as a result. Their caution is far from comfortable, and there is no room for complacency as they must continue to pick up the points. Their recent form, however, has been unconvincing. Wiki Tourists have gone 3 matches without a win, recording 2 draws and a heavy 3-0 defeat, which is not looking good for them at this point. So, playing Rivers United later today, will they upset Rivers United? Is not likely to see that upset, but this is the world of football. Anything can happen. The Rivers United, they are looking to go on top of the table, and they have the chance to be able to do that. OBC Remo Stars also taking on Comos later today, and then we'll see what the matchup will look like. The Comos are also, in the bottom and heading close to relegation, and if they get to lose their match today, That means they'll be taking the first flight ticket to the relegation zone. Was that harsh? No, it wasn't. So let's move on. Let's move on and talk AFCON quickly. Let's talk AFCON quickly as Super Eagles camp swells with Lukman Ajayi. Others arriving. 10 players are now in the Super Eagles camp in Seattle following the arrival of Sami Ajayi, Ademola Lookman, and Bright Osai Samuel. The latest arrival also include Igor Obon Amas and Tuchku Nadi. They joined the quarters of the squad of Francis Zoho, Stanley Nwabali, Fishayo, Dele Bashiru, and Ebenezer, who are already early arrivals in the camp. 18 players are still expected in camp starting from today. The Super Eagles are expected to hold their first official training section tonight. Eric Chill's side will face on the Pharaohs of Egypt in an international friendly at the Sierra International Stadium tomorrow. And then we are expected to see everybody around. And again, you know, FIFA gave today the deadline for all African players, the likes of Salah, Samuel Chukwueze, Kelvin Bassey, Alex Iwobi, Victor Osimhen, Akko James. All of those have got invite to go play in their national team ahead of AFCON that will be starting this weekend. That's talking about Sunday. I expected to be in camp. So them being in camp, they'll have their training section, and then, you know, just to build chemistry ahead of what will be the friendly match that will be happening between the Super Eagles and the Pharaohs of Egypt tomorrow. And that would be, I think, 5 p.m. Nigerian time, but we'll get you the update of the time if any changes happen. So now we'll see how all of this pans out. AFCON is here already, and the likes of Company is wishing, and then he's saying that DR Congo has everything it takes, has the star quality to be able to go all through and win. Well, he's an African, he's from DR Congo, and we will see how all of that will pan out, because nothing will be handed to anybody. Like I've always said, nothing will be, even Arsenal. Yeah, we saw Arsenal doing amazingly well of late, you know, looking to see if, yeah, they found everything that they need to be able to go all through and win the EPL, but still, nothing will be handed to them. Manchester United have gotten back to winning ways now. You know, Aston Villa haven't lost their match, haven't lost like 5 matches in a row. Manchester City getting fired up. Chelsea being inconsistent, but now they won a match, so we don't know what would happen in this week now, if they will still win or they will still lose. But nothing is going to be handed to any team. Everybody has to fight to have his or her place and then to get that trophy. So another concerning thing now, aside from AFCON, is Mo Salah and Liverpool. So now Mo Salah will be arriving in Egypt hopefully later today, and again, as he heads for AFCON, Liverpool future still remains uncertain. Why does his future in Liverpool remain uncertain? Because Mo Salah came off the bench in their last feature, you know, and Arne Slot called him back, and then he was dropped. He didn't travel with them to go play in the Champions League after the outburst he had. He says, Mo Salah says, that he has paid his dues. You know, he has given all to Liverpool, and then he doesn't feel it's right for him to be begging for a place on the team. Now, Saudi Arabia rumors coming out saying that, yeah, he might be making a move to Saudi Arabia, but a team from Saudi Arabia has come out to say that, nah, we don't want Salah. And then the release clause that's been rumored, not confirmed yet, is around 150 million euros price tag placed on Mo Salah. What team wants to pay that much for Mo Salah right now? I don't really know, given the fact that he's 33 years of age, 33 years old, 33 years old of age. So we would see how all of this will happen. Transfer windows are beginning to open. We're seeing a lot happening, you know, some underground moves, the likes of Samuel Chukwueze. There's a plan and there's a conversations already ongoing for him to remain in Fulham. So we will see how all of this pans out. Before we get into that, conversations around transfers and all, let me bring you up to speed with Mo Salah. Mo Salah heads for Morocco today as a captain in African Cup of All Nations. Uncertainty over his future at Liverpool. Salah came off the bench mid through the first half and set up a second goal in their 2-0 Premier League win over Brighton over the weekend. After the match, manager Arne Slot said there was no issue to resolve with his star forward. but speculations continues to rumble over the Egyptian's future after his outburst last weekend. So this one can just shy away from. And then Van Dijk, the captain of Liverpool, says he wants Salah to remain in Liverpool. Fans after the game were, waving flags and then showing solidarity and expressing love to Mo Salah after their game after the game just this past weekend where they defeated Brighton 2-0. And then Mo Salah coming off the bench and also creating an assist. This is what the man is talking about. I've paid my dues, I've given back to this club, and I'm still giving. But at the end of the day, when age, sets in, they will have to give room for other younger players to, step in and fill in the shoes, or maybe outdo what you've done for the club. The club has given you, you've given the club. I think it's a two-way thing. But at the end of the day, when it's time for the club to move on, I think they are going to move on at the end of the day, and you would also move on. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a win-win for both sides. But we'll still keep our arms crossed, fingers crossed, and then watch what would happen after AFCON. For now, Mo Salah says he is focused on representing his country. So let's move on and talk EPL quickly as Manchester smashes Crystal Palace 3-0 to Crystal Palace 3 to move back to within 2 points of Premier League leaders Arsenal, as Aston Villa kept up their title charge. Elsewhere, Nottingham Forest demolished struggling Tottenham 3-0, while Sunderland saw off local rivals Newcastle 1-0 thanks to an on goal by Nick. Arsenal, who had set the pace this season, quickened home on Saturday with a 2-1 win against bottom clubs Wolves, thanks to a two-on goal that's happened. That puts the pressure back on City, who have been showing anonymous signs that they are finding their feet in the recent weeks. So, looking at all of this now, finding their feet in the recent weeks, Arsenal were able, luckily, 2 on goals saved them just this weekend. It would have been a different ballgame. But before I bring you the highlights of the games that we saw this weekend, let's take a quick look at the standing. Arsenal sitting comfortably, 16 game played, 11 wins, 3 losses and 2 draws, and then that gave them 36 points. Manchester City following them very closely with 34 points after playing 16 games, winning 11, drawing 1 and losing 4. And then Aston Villa, who have won 5 consecutive wins back-to-back. Look at it, back-to-back wins. They haven't lost in their last 5 games. They have 33 points, and then that is just very, very close. And then Chelsea back to top 4 after having a beautiful game over the weekend by defeating Everton 2-0. Chelsea having 28 points. In their last 5 games they have played, they've won 2, drawn 2, and then lost 1. Crystal Palace in the number 5th position with 26 points. They had played in their last 5 games, they've won 3 and then they've lost 2. Liverpool sitting at the 6th position with 16 points, current champions of the EPL. In their last 5 games, they've had 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. And then Sunderland also, who are also coming up very strongly and rapidly in their last 5 games, had won 2, drawn 1, and then lost 2. Manchester United, after playing 15 games, they'll be having a game later tonight. They've played their last 5 games of 1, 2, drawn 2, and then lost 1. Everton as well played 16 games. In their last 5 games, won 3 out of 5 and then lost 2. Brighton in their last 5 games have won 2, lost 2, and then drawn 1, and then that leaves them with 23 points. That's the top 10 of the current standings of the EPL. So as we move on, let me bring you quick highlights of the game between Arsenal and Wolves, and also follow that through with that of Real Madrid, and as Real Madrid defeated Alvarez 2-1 in the La Liga.